Alright, so if you're wanting to download a zip file and have possibly something else on the front of it, or even imprint an image or a word or possibly a logo, whatever you want, you can easily do that with Tinkercad. So this is the way I do it normally. You will download the file, save it to your computer, wherever you save it. Just remember where you're going with it. Jump into Tinkercad. Now this is just mine, and this is how I've done a few of them actually. I've downloaded previous files, made words that I wanted on them, and then I will imprint them into whatever image I have. So we will create a new design. We'll open it up. We will go to import on the right hand side. We will choose file, and this one it accepts STLs, OBJs, and SVGs, and only up to 25 megabytes. So that's going to be key for when you upload any file. Your whole project here can have more than just 25 megabytes, but each individual upload you have here, you will want to have underneath 25 megabytes. So if you have a really big detailed item, it's going to be a little bit harder to actually do something with. So we will choose a file, jump over here to downloads. Where's it at? And I want, see, I named the V2 holder right here. So it's going to import everything exactly how it would import it into Cura. So we'll just import it. Take a second. And here it moves around the same way as if you use Cura. You know, you have your right click and hold will let you pan, or will not let you pan. It'll let you rotate. Clicking your center mouse scroll wheel will let you drag around as you do that, and then left and drag will let you select. So that's how you're going to move around this whole feature. So anyways, say you want to put, and this is how it's going to sit onto your ender. So if you're looking at it, this would be as if you're looking directly at the front of the ender over here, bed plate down here. This is where it's going to be facing you the most. So all of this extra stuff back here, you're not going to see. Now, if you still want to, you can put your logo all over the place if you really deem it. But what we're going to do here is we're going to go into basic shapes. It's the first one that shows up on Tinkercad. This is all free, by the way. You don't have to worry about paying for any subscriptions. The only thing you have to worry about is knowing how to maneuver around the website or around this the work plane in general. So you're going to take your text, and it's going to let you drop it, and it's going to drop straight flat onto the surface. Let it go here. You're going to enter your text, whatever you want it to say. So we'll just have it say Rocket for now. All right, and you want it to be the same length as this. So right off the bat, we're just going to shrink it to be, and if you hold shift, see how it goes wonky. It can either go really lengthy or wide to the right. If you hold shift, it'll do it while you're dragging. Scale it properly, proportionately, I should say, actually. So we're going to have it there, and it looks about decently. We don't have to have it too far off to the left and right. Now, what you'll have to remember is this is also laying flat, so you're going to want to rotate it, drag the little icon for the rotation, and then we're going to raise it. So it's underneath the build plate right here on these section here. So grab this little triangle icon cone. You're going to grab it and you're going to lift it. On the right hand side, you see that -2 on the right hand side. It goes all the way up to 0 and then 1. If you really wanted to and you're not too positive, or you're not getting it to lock in properly, you can always just click on it and hit 0, and then it'll kick it right up there. So it's going to kick it off to the bottom of the Y, which is fine. It's no big deal, but it's going to be proportionally, or not proportionally, it's going to be aligned with the base of your other item that you want. So if you want to center it, actually, what we can do, highlight both of them. We're going to click align up here, and it's going to ask us in general first for both of them. Now, if you select whichever one you want it to align to, so we want the Rocky text to align straight to the holder itself. So we're going to click on the holder, and you're going to see that this transitioned over to some other dots instead. So you have the center, which will kick it straight to the dead center up here. And it'll show you like a little indication here in the middle of what exactly it's going to do when you click on it. I'm not clicking on it yet. I'm just hovering over top of it. So it'll kick it there, or it'll kick it to the front, which is what you want. You want it to be showing right there in the sense of it being indented within. but we'll get to that in a second. So what you really want actually is the height over here. So you want it to be aligned midway through to where it's not aligned to the very base of it, but aligned directly in the middle. So we will select here, and you'll see that it raises it up a little bit, and actually has that red boxed area right here. That's actually showing you where the base of it, or the bottom of that Rocky text, will be put. So it's in the middle there. And now what we will do is we will just hold here. I guess we could actually do this. Let's just to be on the safe side, we'll do the same thing. We will align it. Click on this because that's what we want to align it to. And see, I don't want to hit center because then it's going to throw the Y off to the right hand side here. But I guess you just have to eyeball it generally. But what you can do, you can actually use your arrow keys left and right, and it'll move it small bits by bits. And if you want to make that more precise, down over here at the snap grid area, it says 1.0 millimeters. That's how much the jump will be. So if I go to 5, it'll, every time I press over, it'll jump at 5 spaces or 5 millimeters. So if I want it to be more precise, I can really bump it down to 0.1, and it's going to take forever for me to actually click a single one to bump it farther over. Usually I think it starts at, I believe, at 1 already, but we will just kind of eyeball this a little bit more to the left, and whichever way you're facing is the way that the item will shift when you're using your arrow key. So if I'm looking at it straight in front, if I go left, it's gonna, with the arrow key, it's gonna go left. If I go right with the arrow key, it's gonna go right. Whereas if I'm looking at it from the left hand side, all right, if I hit the right arrow key, it's actually gonna kick it to the front. And then if I hit the left arrow key, it's gonna kick it to the back. So whichever way you're facing the item to use the arrow keys is the way that the actual design is gonna shift, or the way it's gonna move. So we're gonna eyeball it. It looks pretty decent right there. You can probably kick it a little bit over more to the left. I just hit it once. That looks good. Now what we're going to do here is a simple way to make this a sort of indent into it. You're going to want to click your item, make sure it's selected, and just click this button right here that says hold. It might be dropped down to say shape. So you can toggle this, will change the hole, or hit H if you need be, but I don't mess with any of the hotkeys, so I don't know any of those. But usually it's just a full thing here. You can hit hole, and it'll change it to translucent, which is basically the hole itself. We will select both shapes again. We're going to highlight this one, or select both of them. We're going to go to align. We're going to highlight the one that we want to move the gap to. So we're going to move it to the tool holder itself. And then as it's aligned, we're going to do the front half here. So here you can see that it's kind of got that, like, the texturization is jumping back and forth between full on gray and like the flickering effect to it. That will let you know, that's basically identifying to you that it's right on the cusp of it being flat with that surface. So if it's not doing that, you probably have it too far back or too far forward. Now we have that selected. Now trying to select it, it might select the whole thing, or it might just select this. So it depends on where you click on it at. So try to show you that scenario here. So oh, that's gonna go there. Like if I click this white part here, it's gonna select the whole item. Back here, it's gonna select your tool holder compared to the words. So it's gonna be a little bit tricky for you to grab it again if you go. Just make sure you grab the full-on solid piece. Now what we gotta remember here though is, I'm gonna pull this out again, is how deep the actual indentation will be. You don't want to be too deep to where it's gonna mess up any of these holders here. Right, so if we bump it back over and looking from the downside view here, and this might not be the best way to do it, but you just want to kind of have a general idea that you don't want it to reach too far into this section, because then it's going to mess up the way it's going to be held onto your machine. So what we can do instead is we will just shrink it from, we grasp the middle here and pull it towards the left, right? Or you can drag it from left to right. Either way, it's making it skinnier in a sense, and that's all we want. So we will select this whole thing again. We will align it. Click on your tool holder, and we want to align it to the front of that item. All right. Once you do that, though, you're not done. You have to actually group it together, or else it's not actually going to give you the item you really want. So when you group it, up here at the little toggle section, you'll see these two sections. There's one with a square and a circle combined, and there's one with a square and a circle separated. That's obviously ungroup and group. So we will group it together, and if you look, it'll give it a second, and it should actually show you internally that that's a hole instead of there. So the red outline, I believe, is the system still trying to comprehend what you want it to do. Let's see if we can't move it around a second to change that outline again, because it should already have a hole in it. It's solid. Come on. This is where you gotta wait for servers to function. There you go. See? So obviously it took a while. The computer, it's not based on our computer power. It's based on the internet or the Tinkercad's server response. So we had to wait for a little while before it actually did it. And then there you go. It's that simple to indent whatever you want onto whatever item you want, right? So then all you got to do, select the item. Now that it is one actual item, you will export it, or export it. It should already save it as whatever you want to over here. That's the name. So if you wanted to save as something specific, like your Ender 3 V2 V2 tool holder, right? Hit enter. It say, or that changes the name of it. So then now if you ever go back to your designs, excuse me, let me jump back over here. Goes back to your home screen. It should already automatically save it every time you mess with something. So that's what you also have to remember. So now it's actually in my design here. If you ever want to just download it straight from doing here, you should be able to click either Tinker, or I believe there's a settings. No, that's just the delete. So you actually have to jump into it. You can download the item here, but we'll just go right back into the view that we had previously, and we will just export it from here. So again, it's still grayed out, so it's not fully there. There it is. That's what we want. We want to export, and you can export as STL, OBJ, GLTF, glib, or an SVG for laser cutting. You're going to want to go 3D printing and selected shape, because it is already one object. If you really didn't want to group the items, you could do everything in this design and it will make it separately. I'm not sure if it will print properly. That's something I haven't trialed at all, but we'll just leave it there as selected shape, and that's the way I've always done it. I've always done OBJs. I feel like it makes it more solid. I don't know the actual specifics between OBJ and STL. That's something else you'd have to want to look into. So you'll save it where you want it to save as and where you want it to specify as. I have it in my folders, obviously. It's gonna save as a compressed zip folder, so you're gonna have to extract it once you open it. We will save. There it goes. Show in folder. Right click on it, extract all, extract it there. So now it's just gonna save as OBJ MTL. Alright, so close all that. We're gonna open up Cura now, and this is the previous item that we had, right? Not what we want. We will delete. We will open a file again. Oh wait, where was it at? It was Ender 3 upgrades, VT tool holder, and it says Tinker. We will open up Tinker. There it is. Now it didn't save it as what it should have saved it as, which I'm not sure why it's not doing that. It might be something different, because it's, again, it should be saved as this. Maybe select it, export. Maybe select it. Okay, so if you go STL, it'll actually give you the name of the item you have saved as. So whereas if I saved it previously as OBJ, it downloaded, I think, some other extra file, but it wasn't the actual name, so it didn't give it the proper name. So just go ahead and do STL. No big deal. Like I said, aside from the name difference in compressed folder and non-compressed folder, I have no idea what's the difference between OBJ and STL. It might be something different with the way the meshes are made within the program. Not too positive, but there it is. You know, all you have here is your item. You have what you want on it, and it could be anything. You could easily have, you don't have to have text there, obviously. You can have it, you can actually download another item, say, and make that the indentation that you want. Obviously, the complexity of the previous item combined into a whole is going to be something you'll want to, keep in your mind if that's something different you want to do. But there it is. If you have any other questions, just let me know. All right, later.